Our vision is to really be better companions to the ranchers and farmers in stewarding the land in ways that are environmentally and economically sustainable. It's a model of shared stewardship.
It's not just your job or your job. Stewardship is all of our jobs.
There's ways to keep eating well and taking care of the land, and those are things that we should be doing, whether the climate is changing or not. But it also behooves us to do it because the climate is changing.
Climate change is impacting not only daily livelihood, but the future of agriculture.
With the extremes of climate change, we have a limited time to turn this around.
It's really scary. We've never seen water levels this low.
I've had to cut back quite a lot, actually, what we can grow.
We have reduced our herd by about 40%.
Each chicken drinks about a pint a day, and I have about 5,000, so you can do the math on that. It adds up quickly.
We saw how much pressure the drought was putting on ranchers and farmers, and we asked, what can we do to help alleviate that? Because we have a long-term obligation, forever is pretty long-term. So DRAWS is drought resilience and water security, and what we do is provide financial and technical assistance, whether it's malted land or not, in Marin County to help build infrastructure for water security.
I was recently awarded a DRAWS grant to put in a well on our property. Having a deep, reliable source of water like that would be the solution to having to reduce acreage.
If this DRAWS program wouldn't have come through, I would have had to reduce my number of laying hens, and that would probably just put me out of business.
We were fortunate that we had water in reservoirs. We just didn't have any way of getting it to the cattle. But the DRAWS program, now we're moving water from one reservoir across the ranch about 6 miles. But we got it there.
MALT is really dedicated to helping us try and heal this earth, and it's reassuring to know that they're there.
Without MALT, we wouldn't be here today, and the more conservation easements they get, the more healthy food we have for our community.
Earlier this year, we closed an easement in partnership with Hog Island Oyster Company, and it's for the historic Leali Ranch. It's our first easement that includes a mariculture zone. Mariculture is agriculture for marine organisms.
Ensuring that this is going to be preserved in agriculture is essential to us, because when I talk about a body of water like Tomales Bay behind me, I am also talking about all the way up to the top of the watershed. So if those streams are not being cared for, the land is not being cared for, it translates downstream. And downstream is where I'm growing my food. You're part of an ecosystem. Making that connection is a very important one.
Eating is a really revolutionary thing if you do it right. Change in society, or change in management of land, and change in the way people eat all go together, and where all those things meet is in this relationship.
If you know your rancher or your farmer or exactly where your food is coming from, you're better able to support that farm if they're going through some issues. You're able to better advocate for better stewardship practices if you're not in line with how they're managing. So you really have voting capital with the dollars in your wallet that you may not have if you're just going to a major retailer to buy your food.
We're so lucky to have a food source that is so close to such a huge population.
I very much see myself as a steward, and I'm hoping that food consumers also see themselves as stewards of the land.
I mean, our ultimate goal here is to try and make a living off the land and leave it better for our kids. That's the ultimate goal.
It's more important now than ever that we take collective action. Those of us who have the privilege to choose what we eat have a duty to act and to make choices that are good for the land and the people who live on the land. And together, we can transform the world.
We so appreciate everything our donors do. Thank you so much for everything that you do for MALT and for our community.